The battle with tariffs is going on, and it leaves two leaders of the country in a threatening battle. Donald Trump, Douglas Ford are willing to put America's lives at stake for tariffs. If you don't know what tariffs are, they're taxes from one country to another for import and export shipments of goods like I guess like aluminum and like Donald Trump has been raising taxes on other countries, saying that the United States does so much for them that we gonna start charging a little extra, tapping them pockets. He started with a 25% tax to Canada. Now he upped the tariff to about 50%, which is kind of crazy. And this will end up in a high tariff tax thing. Like everybody just gonna start taxing each other higher and higher. Like he taxing other countries like China. China just raising their price like America raising their price. And like I think that's what it's gonna be. It's just gonna be an all out people raising taxes until like people just gonna have to depend on what their own country has. But back to Canada, they said they're not going immediately. They threatened to take the power, electricity out of three states in America: Minnesota, New York, and Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. I have family in one of those cities, one of those states, so I wouldn't want that to happen to them. So let's look at the video. So this is Canada's Ontario. Like I guess the Ontario of Canada is like a legislative leader somewhere in Canada, and this is what he had to say about Donald Trump and his tariffs. This is yeah.
For weeks now, we've been faced with so much uncertainty coming from President Trump. Each day brings new tariff threats. Now, President Trump is threatening tariffs on steel and aluminum. He's pointing his finger at dairy and lumber, shifting timelines, different excuses, chaos and confusion. It's hurting workers, it's hurting businesses, it's hurting investments, and it's hurting families on both sides of the border. It needs to end. That's why I've been crystal clear. Until these tariffs are off the table, until the threat of tariffs is gone for good, Ontario will not relent. We will not back down. Pausing some tariffs, making last minute exemptions, it won't cut it. We need to end the chaos once and for all. We need to sit down, work together, and land a fair deal. A deal that gives businesses the confidence to invest. A deal that gives workers the security they need and deserve. Until then, Ontario will keep up the fight. We will apply maximum pressure to maximize our leverage. That's why today we're moving forward with a 25% surcharge on electricity exports. For the 1.5 million American homes and businesses that Ontario powers, homes and businesses in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York. This surcharge will cost families and businesses in these states up to $400,000 each and every single day. On an average, this will add around $100 per month to the bills of hardworking Americans. Let me be clear, I will not hesitate to increase this charge. If necessary, if the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely. Believe me when I say I do not want to do this. I feel terrible for the American people because it's not the American people.
So why he feel terrible if he don't want to do it? Like what's going on? It's like the taxes are too much. And like, what is Donald Trump claiming that like Canada doesn't owe them? Because I'm sure it could get fixed. Like without all this happening,
Who started this trade war. It's one person who's responsible.
And I'm sorry, but I said Ontario. I guess Ontario, like the country, is the state or something. But I guess Ontario something big. But it's the premier. I don't know how Canada politics work.
That's President Trump. I'd rather be working together. I want to sell the U.S. more energy, more electricity, more critical minerals. I want to make Canada and the United States the richest, most successful, safest, most secure two countries on the planet. But as Premier, My number one job is to protect the people of Ontario and in hand protect the people of Canada. I will do whatever it takes.
All right, but they're not cutting. They want to cut somebody else's power off, but they wouldn't cut. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't cut their power off. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't cut the people off on their citizens. You said what the Ontario Premier has to say, and I just think he's just full of crap, man. He don't want to do it, but y'all gonna make him do it. No, you stayed in America for about 20 years, so America was your home one. So why would you do all that for tariffs, the money? But I guess that's all that matters: the money, the money, the money. Donald Trump responds and he addresses the public today about the Canada tariff situation. Let's check that one out.
Look, I said it before. We give Canada $200 billion a year. We subsidize Canada between all of the things we give them and trade. We give them, we don't have to have cars made in Canada. We don't have to have lumber from Canada. We have tremendous lumber. We have tremendous trees. All I have to do is unfreeze them from some of the restrictions that were put on. I can do that with an executive order. We don't need energy. We have more energy than anybody else in the world. So we spend $200 billion a year subsidizing Canada. We don't have to do that. And frankly, the way that gets solved is Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tax.
That's crazy. The whole Canada become the 51st state of the United States. That's crazy. I think Donald Trump went mad when he said that. That's a crazy statement. Like, he talking heavy. He talking heavy.
Problem. They don't have much. They spend very little, as you know, the least of almost anybody on military, and we spend the most of anybody on military. We have a great military. I rebuilt the military during my first time. We're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. Not that much, but we're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. But Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low tax nation because of me, because I cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Brah." But when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation of Canada and the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. And then if you add Greenland, that's even.
Man, what is we talking about here? Like Donald Trump talking crazy. He said he want them to be 51st state of the United States. That's incredibly disrespectful. But America does a lot of things for countries. The other countries do a lot for us. But if Donald Trump feel this way, I think he should chill. It's too many lives at stake. Big city. A lot of people will encounter a lot of problems. Millions of people will go without electricity. He should chill until the United States can have their own power. Yeah, till the United States have their own power supply. I know you think Canada owed the United States, bro. But he should chill until the United States can have their own power supply. I know Donald Trump, bro. You think Canada owe you money, you know what I'm saying? Pay taxes, increase the tariffs or whatever. But whatever Canada owe you, just consider it an electric bill. Whatever you paying them, 200 billion, whatever, consider it an electric bill until you can find a way to supply your own states. Like New York, that's a lot of people. Detroit, that's a lot of people. Minnesota, that's a lot of people. A lot of people Americans care about. Like, and if you let this happen, this would be the worst catastrophe in history. But with all this, it looks like Canada has the advantage. But Trump pulls out one more card, one more Trump card, and I want y'all to check this out right here.
Step is to cut off electricity. The premier says the next step is to cut off electricity to the U.S.
And the president put out a statement after seeing those comments and said that it would be there would be grave consequences imposed on Canada if they think about shutting off electricity for the United States of America.
It looked like the United States is threatening Canada. Like Canada talking all this. You and where the army, Canada? Canada don't have no army, I don't think. How can you fight that? But I understand they have a power supply. But we got to switch too. Yeah, America got to switch too, but it ain't the type of switch y'all got. It don't cause no electricity, just a lot of fire. A lot of fire. That firepower, that military. But all in all, I hope that situation don't get to all that. Hopefully we can have a resolution. But please, Donald Trump, don't keep taxing these people on the tariffs until you can supply the power or electricity for all three of those states that Canada supplies. Other than that, you're just gonna have to consider it an electric bill. And because too many lives are at stake, just consider it an electric bill. But that's all I have to say on that. Hope everything gets better. Y'all hit that like button, comment button, subscribe button. Let me know how y'all feel in the comments. And come back to the next video, man. All right.